So, since I did Zombie Apocalypse and I had so much fun making that video, I figured I would actually go into the Tomb Raider Dreamake and give a little walkthrough of it for those that don't have dreams because they hate fun. I'm going to reset my progress here and just skip my little opening because you've all seen it. Now, all of these cutscenes were actually made during the beta before I received any tutorials of any kind, and I was not yet permitted access to Dreamiverse functionality to assist me in learning how to use dreams, so I kind of had to do it all myself. You can see the animations are pretty janky and bad looking. I'm going to skip the cutscene. So this was the cave level. I was trying to emulate the original Tomb Raider as much as possible, as well as her run animation. I have gone back through Tomb Raider Dreamake and regularly done updates to it as I've learned, like Lara's roll animation, zooming while she's aiming, things like back handspring, side flips, back flips, and the like. She also does a sprint now by holding R1. All of these things I've slowly added as I've learned, as I was saying. This bat is actually, somebody had played this on one of their streams and said it was a Pokemon, because it does in fact look like one. So yeah, this is my Tomb Raider Dreamake. You can see the walls and the ground are actually pretty low detail. The textures are huge on it because I didn't really understand how to utilize the bubblebath game engine properly at that point. So I was sculpting everything out of one giant piece, when in fact it's much smarter to sculpt small pieces and clone them to your heart's content. I actually, in here, did my best to make it as the environment as much alike as the original Tomb Raider as possible, while updating some of the things like obviously the sprint and graphical features, so on and so forth. Whether this looks better than the original Tomb Raider is totally up to the user. That is actually the original Shelley Blonde's voice acting that you're hearing when I jump and move and the like. I did add health packs in, like the original Tomb Raider, which you can see counting up in the upper left corner below the health bar as I collect them. I am going to sprint through these halls. I had a ton of fun making this. This was the first thing that I cut my teeth on with Dreams. The first thing I ever tried to make, again, with no tutorials whatsoever. This is actually a save crystal, which were featured in, I believe, all of the Tomb Raiders, 1, 2, and 3. They were removed for saves wherever you like, with 4 and 5, Last Revolution and Chronicles, I think. This area was really just kind of a drop. You drop down into a little space and pull a lever, but I made it a lot more intricate and complex. Lara also has a motion control flashlight, as you can see. Her head moves with the motion controller, so it's caused a couple people to, while they're laying down, do something like that and send me a message saying her head is busted when they don't know how to, hold the controller or recenter their imp. The flashlight does play an integral part in my Tomb Raider Dreamake because a lot of what I made was in tombs and underground. And lighting effects are real in dreams, so sometimes she bounces. I am still working on correcting that issue. Lighting effects are real in dreams, so if I cover up the sky, then it's very dark. I went in and had to redo these animations, I would say dozens of times while I learned. All the music was transposed from the original Tomb Raider soundtrack by listening to it note by note and rebuilding it in the MIDI synthesizer portion of Dreams, which I love. The main theme was not composed by me. It was actually composed by another dreamer. The rest of the music that you will hear, however, was completely made by moi. Based off Nathan McCree's original compositions, of course. Below are a pair of wolves, just like in the original game. It took me months and months and months. Oh, I guess we're going to meet them. It took me months and months and months to design these bastards. I had to hand animate their run because the procedural animations that are built into Dreams heavily utilize a singular keyframe as a procedural basis, for what the game will procedurally generate as a run for the characters. So the wolves, being on all fours, no matter what I did, would run like people. And it took me building hand animations for their runs. She slides a lot at certain degrees. I'm also working on adding my own animations to the Tomb Raider Dreamake. The reason being, as you can see, her feet really do stick to the ground, so if I turn quickly, they start to get janky. You can see I'm kind of trying to figure out where to land next. I'm going to use a health pack here. I'm probably going to add some sort of animation or sound effect to that so that players know when they are properly utilizing a health pack. As you see, certain things are still janky in my Tomb Raider Dreamake. I am still a learning Dreams developer, so again, as I go, the Tomb Raider Dreamake will be a bit of a platform for me to test new ideas. So, the music that you're hearing, I unfortunately cannot find a Tomb Raider sheet music book to save anyone's life. So I had to, as I said, transpose that note by note based on what I was listening to. It is a secret, but I am exposing it here. My current Lara Croft model, pictured, well, being played right now, is actually immune to fall damage, and I think I know why, but, you know, I haven't corrected it yet. I guess that's down the line. So this is just the first level. You can actually make rather gigantic levels with dreams, even if you don't know what you're doing yet. There's a lot of trial and error and a lot of playing with the logic and stuff. So, yeah, but so this is actually about halfway through the first level in the original game. I ran out of space because I like to go a little crazy on detail. And again, didn't know what I was doing yet. So as you enter this, you actually exit into the following connected dream, keeping your health packs and everything, which is now the second half of caves, which you cannot access in the Dreamake without playing through the Dreamake itself. I did 2 random animations for the death of the wolf there, just to spice things up a little bit. This actually collapses below your feet, just like in the original game, bringing you down into a different area. The falling debris does not hurt you. I did that intentionally. Didn't need it to be any more frustrating than it is. I am still working on a splash graphic for that river there. Little hidden health pack back here. Now this next song you're going to hear is so short, but it took me 6 solid hours to figure out where the notes went in the second measure. Here. So you can see a lot of cracks and rust and dirt and dust and literal paint along the walls here. I did that because like I said, it just keeps getting better as I go as far as my abilities with dreams, and I wanted to show more detail in the level, and I learned at about this point that paint really is just texture mapping, and you can utilize it however you want with very, very minimal impact to the game itself, the gameplay, graphics, thermo, frame rate, etc. There are 3 levers to this puzzle, which you have to pull in order to complete this door opening sequence. I think I hid another health pack back here, actually. Like I said, the flashlight plays a very integral role in the Tomb Raider Dreamake. There are not large health packs. There are only small health packs, which do give you about 60% of your health back, so I haven't really decided whether or not it's necessary for me to go with large health packs. I know that's more along the lines of the original, and that is really what I'm going for here, but I just don't know that it's necessary with as much health as I gave the small health packs. Well, let the small health packs give Lara back. But I could always reduce that and go with large health packs being mapped to another directional button on the controller as well. You never know what the future's gonna bring for my Tomb Raider Dreamake, my little labor of love. I did give Lara a bit of a sassy walk, trying to match something more along the lines of like Legend and Anniversary. stone moving animation perfectly. I will probably correct that in the future. I was watching someone else play this on YouTube from my perspective, and it was rather hilarious because he was saying he was hearing zombies and all kinds of things that I would never really perceive as the creator because I know what's in the level, and it was just stone sliding. But it is funny. It is cool to hear other people perceive your art form in their own unique ways. There's kind of a hidden fall right there that kills you. Trying to kill some peeps. Some Tomb Raiders. This is the third lever. The camera's actually... Oh, good. I was going to say I wanted to make it cut, and it looks like at some point I decided to do exactly that. So, that's the end of the caves level of my Tomb Raider Dreamake, which is actually only the first level in the Dreamake. There are 3 levels that I've designed so far, as well including the city of Vilcabamba, which is also broken into 2 parts, and the Lost Valley, which... Damn feet sliding everywhere. And the Lost Valley, which despite being the largest level in the original Tomb Raider, I managed to squeeze into a single build, and I did that, again, because as I go, my skill with the program, with the game, continues to get better. I'll just run straight through here, and it's going to open me up into the city of Vilcabamba. Now, the biggest problem with the city of Vilcabamba is that some of the, the flips and the back handsprings, because of the way that I built this level without a knowledge base, I unfortunately cannot integrate my newest Lara Croft model in without a complete overhaul of the animations that exist in the level, and I simply have no desire to do that. It would be probably 10 hours of work. I added secrets to this level because, you know, there were secrets in the original Tomb Raider and reasons to raid, I guess you could say. So, I added these, and I did mimic the exact musical jingle when you collect a secret. That one still took me like 20 minutes to figure out. I don't have much of a musical background despite owning a music school. I only recently just started taking composition lessons, and prior to that, my only musical experience was flute in 5th grade, which I have no memory of, aside from that I took it. That I took it. Secrets are just a side thing. No way necessary to complete Tomb Raider or any of the levels within the Tomb Raider Dreamake. Again, I made all of the assets in the Tomb Raider Dreamake completely from scratch. And I decided, even though I had access to the Dreamiverse by the time I was building the other parts of it, I saw no reason to change that. I really enjoyed making the levels myself for the Tomb Raider Dreamake, and so I decided that's what I was going to continue doing. Kill that wolf. And I really did everything I could to try to push myself as a creator when I made the city of Vilcabamba what you're seeing here. There's a lot of Inca-like or Mayan art that I used references when I created for this section for the city of Vilcabamba, and then actually you'll see those continued in future levels simply because I ended up loving them so much. I definitely do need something to some sort of noise to indicate that Lara has healed. I will probably just end up using the same Shelly Blonde, you know, famous Tomb Raider noise. If you are at all familiar with Tomb Raider, you will be quite familiar with the traps and other things like that in the Dreamake, because I tried to make them all as accurate as possible to the original. This looks a little janky because, well, I couldn't figure out how to make the model, the Lara Croft model, stay at that end of the tunnel. So as you can see, she kind of whips back right at the end there, but I'm not mad. I tried to use light. A lot of people made comments on my first Tomb Raider level that light should be utilized primarily as a function to guide the player, and so I tried to do that more with this level than I did the original. Some cave drawings here. Also, Lara will not face the camera unless she has her flashlight out. She stays, I'm sorry, not face the camera, face the direction of the camera, unless she has her flashlight out, active, by holding the L1 button, or if the L2 button is being held for aim, which I'll just keep pressed down because I'm pretty sure there's a bat over there. There's actually a swimming portion in this level that is kind of janky because I'm still learning how to design the physics for swimming. I do see a lot of dreamers out there that have mastered this, and I will be utilizing whatever tutorials they offer to try to better my own creation, because that is what Dreams is all about. I also intend to share all of the assets like the doors and the 9-sided stones and pretty much everything to be utilized. Lara is already shared to be utilized by any Dreamers. This is the second half of City of Vilcabamba. As I was saying, I intend to share all of these assets that I used to create the staircases, the stonework, pretty much all of it. I intend to share all of it once I complete the Inca portion of the Tomb Raider Dreamake, which is the first 4 levels. The next one after the Lost Valley is Tomb of Qualopec, which is the 4th and final Inca level that takes place in Peru. From there, I will create a Greek asset set. I'm not sure if you could hear me over her guns, which I'll utilize to build the Greek/Roman, or I guess it's Greek portion of Tomb Raider Dreamake, which includes I think off the top of my head, St. Francis Folly, Cistern, Tomb of Teotihuacan, and I know there's another one in there. Anyway, again, Invincible Bat. Again, going off of the lighting, I tried to use lighting to guide the player as much as possible. Per player recommendations, I try to take user feedback as seriously as possible, without constricting my own artistic endeavors, because, for example, I finally gave in on the sprint, because this is how Lara Croft was running. This speed was max speed when I first designed the Tomb Raider Dreamake. And if anyone remembers, and you, Lara, if anyone remembers, 1996 Tomb Raider had no sprint option, and the animations were rather slow to make them more realistic. And though I wasn't trying to go for that realistic, I was trying to make them as original Tomb Raider-like as possible. But I ended up, for debugging purposes, because you have to playtest your own levels so many times. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times to make sure there's no scenes broken and glitches and just everything. Everything you can imagine. You have to play your own level so many times. You kind of get sick of it. So I actually, for debug reasons, for searching for glitches, put in a run animation. And I ended up using it so frequently that I kept it for players to use. I added it in the Lost Valley in the 3rd Tomb Raider Dreamake level, but I ended up keeping it in there because it was rather useful, and it did make the game more playable. And ultimately, despite my desire to make it as much like the original Tomb Raider as possible, I also have to make it enjoyable to play for people, or else they're not going to want to play it. Bottom line. So the request came through enough times that I finally gave in and said, let's add a sprint, which is what you can see me using right now. The water in Tomb Raider Dreamake, like I said, it's janky. I'm still learning how to create water and water physics and water controls. So, getting there. This song you're about to hear is the original Tomb Raider main theme. I did arrange it with new instruments and added some chords and things like that, but it was not composed by me. And as you can see, I can't even play my own Tomb Raider game. I have thought about making Lara's controls a lot more similar to the original Tomb Raider, but people really, really hate the tank controls. despite the precision that they offer. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to turn players off to playing, so it does need to be something people enjoy playing. And the Lara Croft model that you see is actually a not only a work in progress, but has been constantly updated with almost everything that I have learned in Tomb Raider, or I'm sorry, in Dreams. With the exception of idle animations, I think, yeah, here, this is actually not, like I said earlier, couldn't change out that Tomb Raider model, so this is my older Lara Croft model, which has not been resculpted and updated. I tried to remain as faithful as possible to everything, which includes how all this works. All the traps and movement and so on and so forth. You really can create an entire game using Dreams. The ability to link games together really allows you to, the camera gets stuck sometimes, really allows you to make an unlimitedly large game. And I think that you can actually put 100 levels into a single dream, and then you can put 100 dreams into a dream. So it's like 100 to the power of 100 or something. So you really can design whatever your mind is concocting, quite frankly. I am kind of skipping the secrets and stuff. I want you guys to, if you decide to play this, I don't want to ruin where all the secrets are. If you guys enjoy the raiding of the tomb aspect of Tomb Raider, then it is a necessity to not know where all the secrets are. But I am showing you basically what to do. You can see her braid is wild. It's folded over on itself right now. It's super physics accurate, with the exception of the fact that it doesn't seem to have a ton of weight to it. And the braids are actually not touching each other, because I bound them together with rope as my choice. I don't know why. So this is easily the most complex creation I've made in the Tomb Raider Dreamiverse. Tomb Raider Dreamake, sorry. You can see I've really ramped up the detail levels, and I learned a lot more about painting and paint strokes and texture mapping and all those good things, as well as atmosphere and lighting. This is my most recent level. This is the Lost Valley from the original Tomb Raider, the third level and the third of 4 levels in the Incan portion of the Tomb Raider game, and therefore the Tomb Raider Dreamake. Here I decided on a shift of atmosphere really quickly to okay, that change of atmosphere, I wanted to really accentuate the sunlight coming. Everything is loud in the Tomb Raider game. We got raptors. So I wanted to accentuate the sunshine coming through the cave, so I just did a quick 3 different atmospheres. One for the outside, one for the middle of the cave, one for the innards of the caves. You can see I added a lot of plants and foliage to this using paint, and then I made the actual grass. This is water. I haven't added a splash to it yet. You can see by its reflection that it is in fact liquid, and you can hear her little feet pitter patter in it. I just have not done what I'd like to as far as Lara's interaction there. Some ripples, some splashes. Got another velociraptor coming around the corner at some point, I'm sure. There was something captivating about the original Tomb Raider for me as a 13-year-old, that Lara was trapped in those caves until this moment. And for me, that felt like a very, very long time, because, you know, learning the you know, how to do the traps and where to go and what to do. Learning all that was... Okay. So, this song you're going to hear with the Tyrannosaur seriously took me like 10 hours. You heard a variation on it earlier. This was the first time that I actually composed it. And I tried to make it more thunderous for the T-Rex encounter. The T-Rex will kill you. So I hide in this cave, where he just barely doesn't fit, just like the original Tomb Raider. And I just unload until he dies. There's more to that song, but when he dies, his body disappears to save on memory and thermo, and it kills the song, and that's okay. So the point of the Lost Valley, you have to collect all these gears and put together this little mechanism, which puts up a dam and blocks the river so you can get behind the waterfall, which is hiding the tomb of Qualopec, which is what I'm working on. I am actually going to make it so that Lara gets wet when she runs through the water, and I already know how to do that. It's a rather simple process that involves a keyframe that slowly powers down that shines up her entire body, and I will do that at some point. I have not yet, though. I think that's what's so attractive about Dreams, is that you have this really broad spectrum of people that are creators all the way over to players and everything in between. This song is not quite right, but I liked it. You can obviously see in this creation that I am still learning a ton about animation and camera work and all that good stuff. This would kill the original Lara Croft in the game, but like I said earlier, her model is inexplicably fall damage proof. So I am taking advantage of it and making a shortcut for myself. Now for the plants, I did some of them physical and allowed them to rustle around in the wind in real time, like this one here. You can see the middle center. There's a difference in the way the one on the right is moving and a difference in the way the one in the middle is moving. And the reason that I did that is because physical paint takes up a lot more, it eats up a lot more of your ability to build the game than paint strokes that are animated. And so what I did was, instead of doing physical paint on all of them, I did physical paint on some of them and let them blow around in the wind. Let me see if I can see another one blowing around in the wind here. Okay, so here's a plant blowing around in the wind here. You can see it really, really moving with the wind. And then this one is actually just animated to look like that. I left some of them physical to create the illusion that they are all physical, and then I animated some of them to ensure that none of the plants look dead or dull or non-reactive to the environments. But I saved on thermo by doing that, so that is a tip there. And I can show you an example of that in later streams. None of these plants are physical with, well, the paint stroke plants. You can see I can walk right through them. Now you can make it so that they are physical and that the character's body physically pushes them out of the way as though they were plants in a normal designed game, in any other game engine that allows foliage detection. I didn't do that because, as I was explaining just a moment ago, physical paint really chews up your ability to create detailed worlds. It is okay to use. I just would highly recommend using it sparsely versus frequently, because you will really notice a frame rate hit when you decide to continue using physical paint. It won't really show on your thermo until you start copy pasting, but you will see it in frame rate. Now the purpose of this level, like I was saying earlier, collect 3 gears and get behind the waterfall to get to the Tomb of Qualopec, the 4th and final level of the Inca levels in Tomb Raider. That below is the waterfall that you can see hitting the water down there. And I added a force applier gadget to the water or to the surrounding atmosphere there, so that if you attempt to approach it, it pushes you back. Because the water would do that, and obviously that's what happened in the original Tomb Raider. Now you can hear some background ambience like water splashing against rocks and some noises, some deep bass thumps and thuds, and just general underground howling. That is the ambience that I chose for the cave area of this level. And like I said, I have a switch which switches it off when you go outside, so you no longer hear it. Yes, these gears do magically fit into Lara Croft's unlimited backpack. There is no questioning it. They do appear to blip onto the game a little bit quicker than the animation shows. Once you have all 3 gears, the river here actually drains. I never jumped in the river because it's just more work for me to get back, but please feel free to jump right into that river and get swept away with it and thrown into the lake below anytime you play. Not going to show secrets. I decided to go with a liquid sound on these rocks as you run, simply because the water was just drained off of them, so they would still be soaking wet. There's not really any light to show their surface reflection, but you can see the rock back here versus the rock I'm standing on is vastly different in reflection. I'll just jump right into that lake. I tried something a little different with water here and made her react differently to gravity. but I don't like when she re-enters the water. It like throws her back down. You can see it. So it's making it even more difficult to get in and out of the water. I do not. End of my Tomb Raider Dreamake walkthrough. I hope you enjoyed. In the future, I will stream myself making the Tomb of Qualopec for everyone. See you around. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy.